Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or wherever you're from. This is the season finale episode. Yes, this is the last episode of season 6. You guys, can we get a round of applause for that? Yeah, a nice round of applause for that. And for those of you that have been following, this is Act 1, Blood, Lies, and Lessons. This is Act 1 of 3 acts. And this is my story. And the reason why I did 3 acts is because for this act, I want to start from the beginning. You know, I want to take my time through them to actually share my story and my trials, tribulations, and address some things that need addressing, but I will not be saying names or anything in that sort. Now, if you read into things and you want to go do searching and all of that, that's on you. I don't have no say so over that. But from my point of view, no name dropping or anything like that. So without any further ado, let's dive in. So again, this is Act 1, Blood, Lies, Lessons. And this is my story. So being as though this is Act 1, we're going to start at the very beginning. And we just going to dive right into it, right? So I was born March 20, 1990. Yeah, y'all don't need to know all of that. But anyway, no, fuck that. I was born March 23rd, 1991 to Jamila Amina Price and Steve Tyrone Garrison. It was a Saturday, I think like 1 a.m. or something like that. Yeah. I am the oldest of more to come, but at the time, it was just me. So growing up, dealing with my mom, we tend to get closer to our families than our blood family. And I'm saying that to say that, because that's where my story starts to come up at. I'm saying that to say that most of the people that you will ever hear me call cousin, brother, or uncle, aunt, grandma, anything in the family nature, 9 times out of 10, they're not blood. They're family because we grew up together. They're family because we went through a struggle together. They're family because they genuinely love who us am. So that's where most of the family come from. So following that, I told you guys when I was born or whatever. By the time I was 2 years old, my mom was not with my sperm donor anymore. She was with my brother and sister's dad. So yes, out of all my mom children, I'm the only one that has my own dad. It's 5 of us, and it's like 2, 2, 1, like that. But anyway, we tend to grow up and become family with my mom, significant other family at the time. I'm saying the significant other part at the time because once we became intertwined in these two families, it was never nothing else. Like I was so to my siblings' grandmother from their dad's side, I was always the first grandchild, like on every side, because we intertwined, we became family. So now it's not such and such big brother, it's me. They say my name, blah 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 blah, and I'm the grandson, I'm the nephew, I'm the cousin, I'm the brother. Like, so yes, most of my family isn't even blood. So I'm saying that to say that my story, my trauma story, starts out when I was 2. So from what I was told, because being 2 years old, you don't really remember too much from 2 years old, and especially not any trauma. Any trauma, you try to put it in the back of your head, if not out of your head, you know? So at 2 years old, from what I was told, we was at one of my extended families. We was at one, I guess, a party or a cookout or something like that. And I don't know what happened, to where as though I started coming down the steps, but my mom said I started coming down the steps, and as I was coming down the steps, I was hard, was wet. So just let that sink in for a second. I'm 2 years old. Why is my dick wet, and why is it hard, and why is my pants down? Just let that sink in, because that's where my first real traumatic trauma started. That's when it first started. And again, these are not even people that's blood, but family, or so to say. I mean, and you couldn't blame the child that was doing it to me, because they're only doing what was done to them. You get what I'm saying? The child that did that to me was only probably, I think he probably, probably the most 3 years older than me or something. And, so not even too far off or whatever. So, yes, that was my first real traumatic situation. And not just my first real traumatic situation, but my first sexual encounter was with a male at the age of 2 years old, a male. So as we went on, I'm not sure what happened after that, like what transpired, if my mom approached the problem or told anybody or anything. I'm not sure. She never disclosed that part or anything like that. So to keep going, so yeah, that's where my trauma first started. And my next trauma that I can remember was with my mom ex-husband, which is my poppy. I love you to death. I miss you too. I hope you up there taking good care of her. But anyway, yes, this is where the trauma that I can remember started taking place. And it didn't have anything to do with my stepdad. It didn't have anything to do with my aunts or anything like that. It had a lot to do with two of my uncles, my stepdad, two little brothers. A lot transpired within that. And let's just say it took me as a whole, because this was a whole different traumatic situation. Like, this was a whole different sexual encounter. This had penis and butts and all of that. One of the brothers, one time my mom was sitting outside of the room, my bedroom in South Philly. And at this time, my mom didn't know what was going on, but he literally stood on the bed and set his bare ass on my face and said, "Eat it." Now, mind you, I'm about 8. So I say he was about, if I'm 8, he was probably like 12, something like that. So what do this little boy know about all of this? So something may have transpired. I don't know. So I can't just point fingers and stuff. I don't know. I just know what transpired with me, and I could talk about my story, mine. So yes, he sat on my face, and I'm like 8 years old, so I didn't even know how to properly get the stench of an ass smell out of my nose at the age of 7 or 8. Like, no way possible. And I didn't tell my mom to the age of 16 years old. And because it was so much that, and I thought that, at this time, me growing up now, I think that this is okay doing things with boys, because it done transpired so many times, and it's always been family members. So, or so-called family members that's not even blood, and they the ones that add this traumatic situation, because I always say that you were either born gay or you was molested or raped, and it turns you that way. And I'm that one that was molested and, I guess, raped, but yeah, rape. So yes. So my traumatic stories begin almost soon as I came out the womb. Soon as I came out the womb. Like, and how do I deal with it? I'm gonna tell you how I deal with it. For a while, I was just angry and just always depressed and just angry, always fighting, all of that coming up in my teen years. And to think back, a lot of the anger had to do with me not being able to express who I was now. Like, and the fact that I didn't have a choice to pick if I really truly like females or males because it was just taken from me. It wasn't something that I was able to choose or anything in that nature. So let that sink in a little bit, right? Let that sink in because the molestations and the rape stopped, after being fucked and sucking and all of that, my two so-called step uncles. So to keep going on this journey, yeah. So my mom never even knew about that until the age of 16. Now, mind you, again, I was always angry and it was always just something, just always fighting, just always angry until the age of 16. And when I came out officially, it was probably like the best thing I have ever done in my life because the way I got over those traumatic situations turned them positive because had I not turned out gay, I would not have ever met the amazing people that I've met today. Ever. I'm sorry, my mic had messed up. Yes, I wouldn't have ever met none of the people that I know today, like my gay dad, for instance, he's one of the most incredible people that I have ever met. And yes, I've been a spoiled brat, and he plays a big part in it. But yeah, so that's how I dealt with the molestations and being touched and all of that. And not to mention growing up and my mom raising five children at once, like by herself, who like you can't punish the mother because oh that's the baby fathers you chose. Who would have ever known? You think females just happily just want to fuck niggas that they know is going to walk away and not be the dad that they supposed to be and all that? They don't know that. That's not nothing that you put on them because they still put their foot in and they still handle what needed to be handled. And a lot of these women do it on their back. They don't even ask for a handout because they feel as though asking for a handout is crossing their independent line or something in that nature. Like their pride, is just not a mother. I I say that mothers is the strongest, most brilliant, beautiful beings ever. Like there could never be a beautiful female or anything. You know, it would never. They are queens. They are the reason why we are here. But that's a whole nother topic to talk about. We're not talking about that. We're talking about my story. So fast forward a few years after that traumatic situation. So throughout my childhood after being molested and raped or whatever, I started thinking that being with a guy was what I wanted. And I just started genuinely becoming attracted to men. It just started building more and more and more and more. Cause I even remember it was this one time that we had like this little sleepover or whatever. And one of the boys, mom, and it was on Paxton Street. My mom let us have like a little sleepover or whatever. It was a couple females and it was some boys. But one of the boys, I ain't gonna say little because he was the oldest of all the kids from across the street. He was a little bit, I think like 2 years older than me. And at this time, because I done been molested and touched, and this is around the time that it was happening. So I was like 8 or 9, and me and one of the boys from across the street, because they was all sleeping over, we in the closet, we hanging from the bar from in the closet, but we swinging and got our dicks hard as shit and just rubbing them on each other and stuff. And I'm hard as hell because now it's a turn on to me. My first sexual interaction was with a male. Like each time it was always a male. So I started dibbling, dabbling because even one of the times we was at another cousin gathering and me and my little cousin, we was humping each other and we was in somebody car seat, but we was humping each other and we got caught and got in trouble over that. Like that's because of the traumatic trauma that I went through. So now I'm only doing what was taught or what was showed or what was done to me. It's not my fault. I don't mean any harm, but it's just that plays a big part. So at the age of 16, right? Now we're going to skip a few years. At the age of 16, that's when my mom finally up and just told me that I was gay. Like she was on a computer and I physically got sick. This one, it was the day after Easter, this one in 2007. And just, for some reason, I was always going and finding naked men to watch because that's what was turning me on. Like I was still watching straight porn and stuff like that, but it was more so I'm watching it because I'm looking at the dick and all that. Like it was, I just became horny at an early age because of what happened to me. Like before I even really knew about beating my dick, one day, this when I was 14, one day I was 13, matter of fact, because we was on 54th Street. I seen one of my mom and my stepdad porn DVDs and I took a piece. I mean, when I played it, because they had the DVD just in there already. So you know what they was doing or what he was doing. But anyway, so it got me hard. So before I even thought to use my hand, I just thought about something that I can make into a hole that could be wet. So I took a piece of a plastic bag, cut a little hole in it, spit on it, and rubbed it up and down my dick. And I think after a couple seconds, my hand rubbed against my dick. And I moved that piece of plastic so bad and started jerking off. I think I started jerking off about 5 times a day. No lie. And I was only 13, 14 at this time. Yeah, 13 because 14 we was in the Southwest. So yeah, I was 13. So to fast forward to when I turned 16 and when I first started actually talking to a boy, like my consent talking to a guy, and it was on Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, scratch that. It was on MySpace. And he was telling me, like, you might as well just come out and we're going to date and blah, 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 blah. So this is my first actual boyfriend. That puppy love boyfriend. If I was 16, because I came out when I was 16, if I was 16, he was probably 20 or 21, one or the other. But yeah, so probably like 20. Yeah, like 20. So he was telling me that or whatever. Like, you might as well just come out. You might as well just let your family know and blah, 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 blah. So I was like, just thinking about it or whatever. And then the next day rolled around and I just got so freaking sick to where as though I was laying on the couch and I was just had a bucket next to me because I was throwing up in the bucket and stuff. So at this time we were staying with my cousin because the house that we were living at, the landlord that we was renting from, he went and sold the house. So my mom and everybody, because we just started being around a drill team at this time. So our house was the it house. So everybody that came over, we had everybody write their name on the wall. And there was so many people that came in and out of there that it was no space on. And this was a 4-bedroom house. And it was huge. 2 bathrooms, 4 bedroom, huge. So, but when he sold it and the bank had it, they was gonna help my mom a little bit with us moving. So in order for us to get the money, we had to paint over all those names, all those names. And when I say this is a huge house, for those of you that are from Philadelphia, just think of 60th and Woodland. Southwest, 60th and Woodland, a couple doors down from the McDonald's. Those houses are huge. So I was throwing up and stuff, laying down or whatever. Again, we live with one of my cousins at the time. And my mom came upstairs and she got on MySpace. So I'm sitting right behind a computer on the couch and got the bucket next to me and I'm just sick to my stomach. And it's crazy that I got this sick because I was so nervous. So my mom turned around the first time and was like, "Hey son, you okay?" Or whatever. She was like, "You don't feel good?" I was like, not really or whatever. Like, I'll be okay. So she was like, okay. She turned around to be out back on MySpace. And no more than 5 minutes later, she turned back around and said, "You like boys?" Now, mind you, she asked me this probably once or twice throughout my childhood, just growing up, because the femininity started being in me at this time, it started really being in me at this time. So she turned back around. She turned back around and said, "You like boys?" And all I could say is, I don't know. Like she asked me it before a couple times, like twice throughout my life. But this time I just could say, I don't know. It wasn't no or anything like that. It was the truth. I don't know. Mom, I guess so. Like, because to be honest, I don't know what's really going on. And at this time, my mom did not know. My mom did not know that got molested at this time. So she didn't know until later that year after I came out. And she was livid and so freaking hurt. But I told her, I said, "Mom, don't even worry about it because I turned it into something positive. If it wasn't for me getting molested and raped, I would not have met none of the people that I've known today. And I met so many good people, and some of them not in my life anymore. Some of them, most of them are. So, some tragic situations happen and things in that nature. So we're going to stop there. Yes, I had to tell y'all the beginning. Remember, said this is Act 1. So Act 2 would be the season premiere for season 7. And from here on, every season, I'm going to drop the episodes or whatever, but I'm going to treat it like an album. So each single that I put out, I'm going to make a video podcast. And the rest of the album will just be audio, right? Right. So the second week of August 2026, season premiere of Sex, Love, Tea, season 7 will be premiering August 2026, the second week in August. So just stay tuned and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and stream on every platform. And remember, this is Sex, Love, Tea. Act 1, Blood, Lies, and Lessons. We out of here.